It began in 1999, when we opened our first office in the country. It revolves around our role as a global merchant and processor of agricultural goods, and it continues to this day as an active participant in the country's agro-industrial sector, with a focus on palm, coffee, grains, and cotton. We are Louis Dreyfus Company, and this is our journey in Indonesia. The world faces many critical challenges today: environmental pollution, climate change, and the depletion of natural resources. The need to manage agriculture and food production sustainably is therefore essential to meet the growing demand for food. We believe that we have a key role to play in addressing these challenges, and that LDC's vision to work toward a safe and sustainable future, helping to provide sustenance for a growing global population, is more relevant than ever today. We are passionate about fair and sustainable value creation, placing responsible food supply and sustainability at the heart of all we do. We operate RSPO and ISCC certified refineries in Lampung and Balikpapan, which promote the use of sustainable Indonesian palm oil. Our biodiesel plant in Lampung supports growing national demand for biofuel and palm production, as well as Indonesia's ambitious renewable energy targets. With the aim to achieve 100% traceability of the palm oil we trade and process, LDC's palm sustainability policy guides our suppliers in sourcing palm oil responsibly, minimizing social and environmental impact while preserving natural resources and biodiversity.
LDC hanya membeli buah kelapa sawit yang berasal dari perkebunan yang dikelola secara sustainable. Jadi saya melihat LDC ini menerapkan bisnis yang tidak hanya melulu kepada keuntungan semata, tetapi juga sudah menerapkan perkebunan secara berkelanjutan. Kami sekarang menyadari bahwa masalah deforestasi dan eksploitasi perlu segera diatasi, dan itu dapat diatasi melalui action plan yang nyata dan tepat.
Our sustainability efforts in Indonesia also extend to our coffee supply chain. Since 2011, LDC agronomists have worked with over 5,000 smallholder farmers to impart sustainable agricultural practices, which have improved the quality of yields and incomes.
Dulu saya mendapatkan penghasilan 1 ton biji kopi per hektar. Sekarang setelah mendapat pelatihan, saya mendapatkan penghasilan itu menjadi 2 ton biji kopi per hektar.
At LDC, we also believe that building lasting partnerships and focusing on delivering quality services as a trusted business partner is another key to fulfilling our vision for a sustainable future. Our growth and development in Indonesia is underpinned by strong relationships with local partners, from farmers to customers, and from suppliers to joint venture partners. This collaboration enables us to share knowledge, affect meaningful change, and grow sustainably by finding shared solutions to common challenges.
Kemitraan kami dengan LDC Indonesia sangat baik. Kami sudah bekerja sama sejak tahun 2000 bersama-sama mengelola pelabuhan yang ada di Lampung. Kemitraan ini berefek positif kepada kami karena dikelola secara profesional, transparan, dan dengan spirit saling menghormati.
Our commitment to protecting our people, the environment, and local communities is central to realizing our vision for a safe and sustainable future. Because safety, health, and the environment are a priority in the way we do business, we conduct regular audits and analyses and take action to improve our industrial performance and minimize environmental impact. Employing over 300 people in Indonesia, LDC also nurtures young local talents as the next generation of leaders in Indonesia's agricultural sector.
Saya bergabung di LDC di tahun 2011 sebagai manajemen trainee. Menurut saya LDC tempat terbaik untuk anak muda belajar skill entrepreneur, dan saya diberi tanggung jawab dan pengetahuan yang semakin besar di industri kelapa sawit Indonesia. Saya dibesarkan di tengah keluarga yang selalu mengedepankan kejujuran, fairness, dan keterbukaan. Dan saya menemukan nilai-nilai ini selama saya bekerja di LDC.
Through projects in education, health, and environmental sustainability, LDC promotes the well-being of local communities in our operating locations. Our Sekolah Masa Depan, School of the Future initiative, supported public elementary schools in Lampung, Balikpapan, and Jakarta with building renovations, teachers training, parents workshops, and student engagement activities conducted by LDC volunteers.
Dengan program Sekolah Masa Depannya mengubah sekolah kami. Program ini menunjukkan kepedulian perusahaan dengan sekolah kami, sekaligus membuka jendela ke dunia luar yang lebih besar.
Since 1999, LDC has grown with Indonesia. We have combined global expertise with strong local partnerships to create value for customers, suppliers, business partners, and local communities. The future promises an exciting new chapter for LDC as we look forward to a continued collaboration with Indonesia and her people. Together, we will continue to deliver quality and responsibly produced agricultural goods, helping to provide sustenance for a growing population toward a safe and sustainable future.
began in 1999 when we opened our first office in the country. It revolves around our role as a global merchant and processor of agricultural goods, and it continues to this day as an active participant in the country's agro-industrial sector with a focus on palm, coffee, grains, and cotton. We are Louis Dreyfus Company, and this is our journey in Indonesia. The world faces many critical challenges today: environmental pollution, climate change, and the depletion of natural resources. The need to manage agriculture and food production sustainably is therefore essential to meet the growing demand for food. We believe that we have a key role to play in addressing these challenges, and that LDC's vision to work toward a safe and sustainable future, helping to provide sustenance for a growing global population, is more relevant than ever today. We are passionate about fair and sustainable value creation, placing responsible food supply and sustainability at the heart of all we do. We operate RSPO and ISCC certified refineries in Lampung and Balikpapan, which promote the use of sustainable Indonesian palm oil. Our biodiesel plant in Lampung supports growing national demand for biofuel and palm production, as well as Indonesia's ambitious renewable energy targets. With the aim to achieve 100% traceability of the palm oil we trade and process, LDC's palm sustainability policy guides our suppliers in sourcing palm oil responsibly, minimizing social and environmental impact while preserving natural resources and biodiversity.
LDC hanya membeli buah kelapa sawit yang berasal dari perkebunan yang dikelola secara sustainable. Jadi saya melihat LDC ini menerapkan bisnis yang tidak hanya melulu kepada keuntungan semata, tetapi juga sudah menerapkan perkebunan secara berkelanjutan. Kami sekarang menyadari bahwa masalah deforestasi dan eksploitasi perlu segera diatasi, dan itu dapat diatasi melalui action plan yang nyata dan tepat.
Our sustainability efforts in Indonesia also extend to our coffee supply chain. Since 2011, LDC agronomists have worked with over 5,000 smallholder farmers to impart sustainable agricultural practices, which have improved the quality of yields and incomes.
Dulu saya mendapatkan penghasilan 1 ton biji kopi per hektar. Sekarang setelah mendapat pelatihan, saya mendapatkan penghasilan itu menjadi 2 ton biji kopi per hektar.
At LDC, we also believe that building lasting partnerships and focusing on delivering quality services as a trusted business partner is another key to fulfilling our vision for a sustainable future. Our growth and development in Indonesia is underpinned by strong relationships with local partners, from farmers to customers, and from suppliers to joint venture partners. This collaboration enables us to share knowledge, affect meaningful change, and grow sustainably by finding shared solutions to common challenges.
Kemitraan kami dengan LDC Indonesia sangat baik. Kami sudah bekerja sama sejak tahun 2000 bersama-sama mengelola pelabuhan yang ada di Lampung. Kemitraan ini berefek positif kepada kami karena dikelola secara profesional, transparan, dan dengan spirit saling menghormati.
Our commitment to protecting our people, the environment, and local communities is central to realizing our vision for a safe and sustainable future. Because safety, health, and the environment are a priority in the way we do business, we conduct regular audits and analyses and take action to improve our industrial performance and minimize environmental impact. Employing over 300 people in Indonesia, LDC also nurtures young local talents as the next generation of leaders in Indonesia's agricultural sector.
Saya bergabung di LDC di tahun 2011 sebagai manajemen trainee. Menurut saya LDC tempat terbaik untuk anak muda belajar skill entrepreneur, dan saya diberi tanggung jawab dan pengetahuan yang semakin besar di industri kelapa sawit Indonesia. Saya dibesarkan di tengah keluarga yang selalu mengedepankan kejujuran, fairness, dan keterbukaan. Dan saya menemukan nilai-nilai ini selama saya bekerja di LDC.
Through projects in education, health, and environmental sustainability, LDC promotes the well-being of local communities in our operating locations. Our Sekolah Masa Depan, School of the Future initiative supported public elementary schools in Lampung, Balikpapan, and Jakarta with building renovations, teachers training, parents workshops, and student engagement activities conducted by LDC volunteers.
Dengan program Sekolah Masa Depannya mengubah sekolah kami. Program ini menunjukkan kepedulian perusahaan dengan sekolah kami, sekaligus membuka jendela ke dunia luar yang lebih besar.
Since 1999, LDC has grown with Indonesia. We have combined global expertise with strong local partnerships to create value for customers, suppliers, business partners, and local communities. The future promises an exciting new chapter for LDC, as we look forward to a continued collaboration with Indonesia and her people. Together, we will continue to deliver quality and responsibly produced agricultural goods, helping to provide sustenance for a growing population toward a safe and sustainable future.
Welcome to Togar Show, and here is our host, Togar Sitanggang.
All right. Thank you, the band. And good afternoon for all my friends in Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore. Good morning to you, all my friends in Europe. And this is a special show for Togar, live show with the entertainment. And this is in the form of talk show. And here are our guests. Tim Eversell. Hi Tim, how are you?
Very good, thank you.
Have a seat. Lucia Limasa.
Hi.
Apa kabar? And Aziz Kurniawan. Ya Pak? All right, yeah, thank you, the project band. And first of all, this show has already followed COVID-19 protocol. All the guests and also the crew here is already done the test for the protocol for COVID-19. And also later at the show, we will have giveaways and also quizzes. And of course, today, the event, the today's show, is supported by LDC. And the guests are all here now. Let's begin the show. Okay, how are you guys?
Good. Yeah, very good, thank you.
Busy?
Trying to be, yeah.
Trying to be busy
Or pretend to be busy.
Or pretend to be busy.
Pretend to be busy.
Which one is the more suitable for you guys? Pretend to be busy or?
I think suitable would be pretend to be.
Yeah, because
that's not the luxury we get these days.
Exactly, because all the problems that we have on this industry and also the things that are going on the other side of the show now. Right, okay. Before we go on the first segment, please, we will have a short break. Hit it, band. Right? It's very short, right? Okay, first segment of the today. Ibu Lucia, please share with us the history of biofuel itself. You know, what is going on, and when exactly the biodiesel or biofuel or bioethanol is discovered for the whole world.
Well, biodiesel, in fact, is not something very new. Since long time ago in the Paris show, it was the first introduction of the biodiesel. Means that they produce the diesel fuel from vegetable oil.
Okay.
So that's something like 1868 probably.
Okay.
But the invention is just something they show in the exhibition show, you know, like a technical exhibition. So then, but in the worldwide, I think US start since 2000. Then in Europe, Germany is the first one, I guess. Then Austria and etc. In Indonesia, we start like 2006 when the president issued presidential decree for the renewable energy. But the industry itself start 2008 in Indonesia.
2008 in Indonesia.
Yes.
And what is it compare 2008 with what is now we have in Indonesia?
This is a long pathway. We already passed. You know, we start 2008 with 2.5% blending, and currently we achieve 30% blending.
Okay.
So it's something like 13
is
years.
It, is
13
it
years.
The increase is very gradual or you know?
Yeah,
what
as
happened?
like the first infant industry, you know, on 2008 to 2014, it is a very struggle time. First, we have to introduce or socialize what is the biodiesel. So the percentage of blending is increased very slowly from 2.5%. We only get to 10% in 6 years. But after that, we have a very aggressive blending or growing since 2016, I guess. When we start 15, then 2019 we start with the 20% blending, and immediately in a year we achieve 30% blending.
And,
so it's not a gradual.
And to reach this 30%, what is the government or the industry is doing, you know, to reach that? I mean, can it some skepticism already on the when it increasing. What is the government and industry do to make sure that this blending is okay for the transportation in Indonesia?
Yes, Togar. Our responsibility. I'm in the committee of technical committee of biodiesel. So one of our duty is to prepare the specification, the quality specification. No, it's not simple. It is a very difficult time. It is a very difficult work to increase a blending. So people probably see so simple like when you introduce a B30, a B20 to B30. But behind that, we spend 2 years every time when we increase blending. It starts with the long discussion about the technical specification. Then not only that, because Indonesia is the highest blending percentage in the world.
Yeah.
So we don't have any reference at all from the other country. So we do the road test ourselves, and it's what you call something like we invite all the stakeholders to join in the road test. So it's not a simple things, you know.
So you mean that to increase that need at least 2 years, in terms of specification, in terms of getting the comfortability of the all the stakeholders there.
Yes, and it's all proven in the road test before we launch to people, socialize to people.
Okay, right. If you want to add, Tim, if you like.
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, we've been involved since 2016. I think just you speak about the industry side, and that's a very big challenge from, I mean, obviously you were part of the team that is looking at specifications and obviously looking at what is required in Indonesia and how to move forward with that. And the industry went through going from B20 to B30 in 1 year, which was obviously a huge pressure on the industry to really get the capacity and to manage that program. So it was very much a concept of both the industry and policymakers working together to get to the point where we are today.
Yeah, that's good that all the stakeholders are very cooperative. We support each other from the end user side, like Indo, and the other like IKABI and all the heavy equipment industry. So we invite all the stakeholders, gather together, and we discuss until even in the road test, the vehicles and everything is provided by them.
So it's actually the industry itself, fully committed to do the road test so that they themselves can experience first. Before the whole people that own the car, experience that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. How about the other biofuels? Like, I mean, we all know that also in other countries, bioethanol is the main concern for them. What happened to bioethanol in Indonesia?
Well, biodiesel is blended to the gas oil, right? Okay.
Yes.
While bioethanol for the gasoline. Okay. Bioethanol start in Indonesia basically same time with biodiesel in Indonesia. 2008 there is one producer, if I'm not mistaken, is Molindo. But unfortunately, they probably have the difficulty in the feedstock because they use the molasses, which again, it is about the economic side too. So biodiesel more aggressive compared to bioethanol in Indonesia, but I guess that this lately, just recently, we try to push the bioethanol growth too in Indonesia.
Okay, so it's bioethanol is a bit lag behind on biodiesel.
Yeah, because of the feedstock. Good things in biodiesel that we have plenty of feedstock. I mean, talking about the CPO.
Yeah, palm oil. Okay.
Yeah, the palm oil.
And Tim, what do you think? If there is no BPDP, will we are in the B30 now?
Yeah, I think the issue that you have is BPDP is a fund that I guess subsidizes the difference between gas oil prices and palm oil prices. And over the history, I guess the course you were mentioning earlier, 2008 or 2006 to 2008 was really where it started, and then it continued to where we are today. And the reality is that's when crude oil prices went to $160. and palm prices were lower, so it essentially became feasible, and the government had to ensure that local feedstock was used to produce energy rather than importing at expensive prices.
Yeah, and at that time we import something like 35% of the local consumption.
And then I guess from there, 2008 onwards, crude oil prices dropped, and crude oil prices went to an average of $60, and palm prices were significantly higher than crude oil prices. And the only way to make the program feasible is for you to have a subsidy program which allows you to pay the difference between the diesel price and the palm price to ensure that energy and the consumers at the end are not the ones that are bearing the additional price. So obviously BPDP as a fund is the pillar and the main point to the success of the industry.
Yeah.
And question to us is, do you see this as the same thing? I mean, like you are some sort of outside from the industry, looking into the industry. Do you think it's really BPDP has a main role for, to make this B30 happen?
Yeah, I think BPDP is a part of important point, because if there is no BPDP, there is no someone to incentivize this level of price, and where it doesn't happen, I think it's this industry doesn't goes well, I think. So the part of BPDP is very, very important, I think.
Okay. All right. I think that's a bit enough for the first segment. And we will be back shortly. And before we go, well, let's listen to what the project, want to show for us or want to hear from us. Hear it, Ben.
Maybe I can figure it out. Your kiss just tastes like honey. Sweet life, don't give it a lie. It's a fool what to try to do. Living on cheating in the bed grows inside to live it, not to live it. Crying in the rain. I am no vision, I'm the girl who loves you inside and out. Take what the forward, trick my heart out and out. I love no other way. What we gonna do if you lose the fire? Inside and out. Inside and out. Inside and out. Inside and
Thank you. Well, it's not enough actually to listen only, but part of the song, you need to move in, and enjoy the whole song. But
like you were.
But we have to continue the show, right? Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay. Hey, Tim, thank you for supporting as LDC for the show. Tell us about LDC itself.
Yeah, I think first, thank you very much for having us. A little bit of a breakdown behind LDC. It's a company that's truly stood the test of time. I think in the heart, we're a merchant and a trader. The company's been around for over 170 years. And over that 170 years, it's built the diversity or diverse portfolio that covers the entire agricultural to food value chain. And in doing so, we basically go from farm to fork, and probably to narrow in on this one, from farm to engine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And LDC present also in Indonesia.
Yeah. In Indonesia in particular, we have 2 refineries and a biodiesel plant. We've been here since about 21 years ago. And we continue to develop in Indonesia, starting at just 1 tank to the concept to where we are today, and we will continue to build. In biodiesel in particular, obviously as a company, we are very diverse in our assets and network throughout the globe. Biodiesel, we are operational in Argentina, in the USA, in Europe, in Germany in particular. And then obviously here, and I think going forward here, we're involved in potentially the biggest biodiesel program globally.
Yeah, but the other country now on the biodiesel program, I mean, is the feedstock will not be should not be palm oil, or maybe in Germany it's palm oil.
Correct, it's different. Argentina is soybean oil.
Okay.
Obviously, South America and the States is a soybean producer. In Europe, it's more sunseed and rapeseed. So our plant is rapeseed oil, and in Indonesia and Malaysia are your predominantly palm oil producers. So our plant is based on palm.
Okay, and you say you have 2 refineries. You have LDC has plantations on that?
No, we trick question. No, we don't. We used to be involved upstream, and as a company, we moved more towards being closer to the consumer. We're not necessarily farmers by heart. So we more on producing, creating movement, moving products from where there is a big supply to a point where there is a big demand. So focusing specifically on refining products, being part of a global, in this case, vegetable oil complex, and we try and move products around from country to country.
But you don't have but on the other country, maybe you do, like maybe soybean field in South America? No.
No plantation.
It's only everything is on the trading side. Okay, but palm oil is not the biggest of the commodity in Indonesia, isn't it?
In Indonesia?
I mean, for LDC for the world.
No, well, globally, I think it's a bit of a difficult question. We focus on different platforms, and this
On
one is
different countries.
grains and oilseeds, and palm oil forms part of the grains and oilseeds complex. I would say that we have quite significant presence in Indonesia and in the global flow. And obviously, for palm oil in particular, palm is by far the biggest agricultural commodity in Indonesia.
Okay, and other than palm oil, anything else do you doing in the Indonesia?
In Indonesia, yeah, we are facilitated in coffee. We have a growing coffee business, in sugar too, and we import cornmeal.
Import cornmeal, okay. And what do you see, how do you see Indonesia on palm oil or biodiesel in the next future?
Yeah, I think our stance is very much that the business is going to grow here. We are highly invested here. I think we know that palm is obviously very centered around the economy of Indonesia, and definitely both the industry and policy will look after the businesses here. And we want to be part of that growth. I think there is a lot of questions that we need to answer to move forward. Obviously, we work on sustainability, and it's a concept that the whole industry is challenging. But to do so, once we have the capability to do so, for sure, globally, there would be a much bigger opportunity for us to trade, and that's where we would move into.
Okay, and how do you see sustainability in Indonesia? I mean, Indonesia has introduced sustainability by RSPO maybe, and then now ISPO. Do you see that is the way to go for Indonesia?
Yeah, I think that it's actually been incredible to witness the movement that Indonesia has made on sustainability. And I think that today Indonesia goes, they don't get the applause that they definitely deserve. There's been a massive change in policy. There's been a massive change in policy in how the industries, especially plantations, have adopted the new requirements for sustainability.
Yeah.
I think that there is significant certifications on different parts of the business, whether it goes into energy or it goes into feedstock, understanding greenhouse gas emissions, looking at carbon credits, and looking at just deforestation in general. And the work that is going with NGOs, with the industries, and all the way upstream. So I truly believe that it's a center point for it to move forward, but I think we are pretty much already there.
Yeah.
The idea is now just to consolidate it and have the world kind of understand where the sustainability certifications are coming from, and to essentially adopt that. I think obviously a lot of bad press, which you see in many industries, has created a certain facet or idea of the industry. But being on the ground here and watching what has happened and where we are today, I can honestly say that we're definitely a step forward in potentially almost any commodity. And for sure to be a world leader when it comes to sustainability in the near years.
Yeah, but the thing is, like you said, because you are on the ground here, and then see how it changed and how it's progressed. But so many people also is just reading the news. You know, how can we say that to all of them? How can we really make them understand there is a progress and there is a change already happening in national sustainability?
I think programs like this, one, it's difficult.
It's actually my question. Actually, want him to say that, so that this is the way that we are telling the people all over the world. Indonesia is progressing on sustainability.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, being all the way upstream at the farm, your negative news comes to the consumer, which is so far away from the farm. And to change the perception of the consumer on what is happening on the farm is media. So the reality is media. So getting the good word out. And the way that you do that is having certifications and having your last end kind of B2C companies, the companies that are consuming this to create products for your consumer, to endorse the product, which is already happening through their own sustainability channels. And once that happens, for sure, their advertisement will go along with that, and then there will be conversations which will be had to kind of nullify the concept of where we are on sustainability in Indonesia.
Yeah, but again, sometimes the company is like very shy to show that, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But that's
very
now,
shy to acknowledge that. You know?
Yeah.
There is also the. Aziz can
Is that
agree with that.
because they are still in progress to do that, or what? Why are they shy? I mean,
I don't know.
So I think for me, and I don't want to speak on behalf of any other company, and I think that the companies that we have worked with, it's been very clear that they are working with us on creating sustainability concepts and on creating their own certification of which they are proud of and working towards. But I also know that the industry is a large industry and it's not fully consolidated on one certification or one view of sustainability. So in the end, a company that is supplying something to its end consumer needs to understand what is the consumer preference at that point. And until that conversation has really been engaged, I think an advertisement would become a bigger statement. And that is probably where we're going to in the next years to come.
Okay, I mean, back to the biodiesel that you are, the LDC involved. I mean, like, it's for me personally, when I know the LDC going into biodiesel, I have a question like, why LDC, a global company, want to jump into biodiesel in Indonesia?
I think number one, we got into biodiesel in 2016, and we've been involved in Indonesia since 1999. So the reality is that when we invest into a country, we want to grow with the country. We cannot be in palm oil and be just a refiner when the real concept of the industry and the government wants to move into biodiesel. So we wanted to be part of that growth. Part of the sustainability of the industry, and invest in the country and follow the requirement of the country in the end. On top of that, as I discussed before, we already are exposed in a way to biodiesel. We understand the business, we understand it on a global level. We understand the value and we know where things are going. For sure, I think everyone watching this, including everyone here, knows that renewable energy is the future, and there's lots of debates about which way we should be going to. But for sure, in Indonesia, understanding the concept of the commodity process here and the capability of supply and feedstock, which is what Bulusha mentioned earlier, it's definitely the future of the industry and what we've seen up to now being B30, which is by far a world leader in biodiesel blend.
I think this is the fifth. I think Indonesia is the fifth plant for biodiesel for LDC.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes.
And do you think anything beyond B30?
Yes, I mean, for sure. I think, the government's already made it clear that they want to go to B40.
Yeah.
There is clear tests that B40 needs to be identified and economically seen as a viable option. There is road tests that are happening in February that will continue to June, July to identify the specification. So for sure, the steps have been made to move in that direction. Whether it will happen in 2022 or 2023 is a difficult conversation to have, I think, for now.
At least we already, set the, I mean, like on the first segment, we already know that, to increase B20 to B30, you need 2 years, right?
Yes.
And Bu Lucia is part of the team on doing that. And how about B40, Bu Lucia? What is the difference in terms of technical specification that needed to be, to have B40 working?
Well, B40 technically is I mean, it is something that workable. So people said, oh, so high, but technically it's workable. It's workable, Just we need, as usual, when we increase the blending, it takes 2 years to do all the homework, to do the tests and find the good specification that meet all interests from all stakeholders. So technically, it works. Technically.
What kind of specification technically? I've heard that, and we have done B80. Internally B80. Of course, B30.
In fact, B100 also can be.
B100 also.
Yeah.
But what is the B40 technically specification for all the cars available today? It's different with the B30 that we have now.
Yeah. So, Togar, as you know, that a biodiesel can be used even 100%.
Yes.
Okay. We can use 100%. But the point is the vehicle that use or whatever used the biodiesel 100% should be designed for that.
Okay.
While I mean in fact we see that we have to serve all the vehicles. There's a vehicle since 19 even, in Indonesia we don't have any limitation like how many years a lifetime of one vehicle, right? So that's the problem, but like biodiesel plus and minus. On the other side, they have the benefit, a lot of the benefit from the biodiesel, especially like a renewable energy. From the environment perspective, there is much better compared to the fossil fuel for sure. Okay, sustainability because it is a renewable. Probably we will something like improve like 2-3 parameters of this 23 and add additional 1 to 2 parameters if we go to B40.
But you cannot talk about one or two parameters.
Not yet now because we're still working,
She's not telling
we're
us
still working with that.
I mean,
I didn't want to tell the numbers because we're still working with that.
No, because the debate and what I've been hearing is like B40 must be FAME, fatty acid methyl ester, plus the second generation of
distilled. We call that as DPME.
DPME. Or the HVO.
Yes, hydrogenated vegetable oils. Okay, we are still working with that, Togar, until now. So there is 3 alternatives. We're still working on that. I even have the meeting today. We are discussing about the combination, the best combination, the best scenario for that. Because talking about technically, eventually you cannot just make a straight line between technical and economic.
Yes.
So we have to see the productivity, for example, the availability of the production itself. HVO probably doesn't. If you blend 10%, means that we need something like 3 million, right?
Yes.
3 million KL. While I don't think that HVO is ready with the 3 million
in very short time.
Yes. So we have to find the combination between that.
Yeah, and that DPME will be step in it.
Yes, probably.
Yeah.
Most
okay.
probably.
But DPME also will, correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, will reduce the capacity.
Well, I think the idea is you have your 30% now, which today you have an excess capacity since B30 was initiated, you had a significant consolidation of the industry and increase in capacity in Indonesia. So I think you have an overcapacity of B30 capable plants. And then if you're going to go into DPME, the additional 10%, and you take the current capacity of
we still have
which you have enough.
Yeah.
But you don't have enough for the 10% of DPME. That's the issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think you probably need about 3 to 3.5 million tons of DPME to get the additional 10%, where today you have 1 to 1.5 million tons of DPME, let's say.
And we need new investment then.
Yeah, additional
will
capacity
LDC
needs,
invest more?
For the DPME?
I think for sure, as we've discussed, the idea on
Indonesia
record,
is open for investment. Biodiesel, please come.
Yeah, okay. For sure. I mean, and you've seen that. I mean, if you understand the industry and been in the industry, you would have seen a significant investment over the past 10 years.
Yeah.
There's massive consolidation and increase in downstream investment.
Yep.
You've had huge refineries being built in. You've had further downstream in oleo, and now biodiesel and potentially DPME going forward. So for sure, Indonesia is open for investment, and for sure, the industry and the policies allow for investment and being a fruitful business. But number one is get the specs correct.
Yes.
Number two is
get Lucia.
Crack the whip. Crack the whip.
Get it done, Lucia. So we know what we are doing. We'll do like
exactly. And then from there is what needs to happen with pricing for it to make sense. And again, we talk about BPD PKS, which will be the fund that subsidizes the difference between. And you need to figure out what is the additional cost of DPME versus normal PME.
Yes.
Yep.
And then what is the additional capex investment and how can you make it economically
And
viable
the
for those
availability
players?
of the feedstock itself, you know, because you increase that.
And then once you assume you have all of those and they all make sense, then it comes investment stage. And investment stage is going to be another, 1 year, 1.5 years.
Probably, right?
2 years, let's say. Yeah, fair.
So B40 will be 2 years from now at least? No. 2.5 years from now, because the road test will only run until July.
At least we have the specification, Togar. So
your job is done.
Yes.
Now
No,
I
mean, once because you have to find, you have to decide, right? Whether you put 10% DPME or 5 or whatever. So this technical should be solved. Should be come up with the result before we tell you guys, the producer, to increase capacity.
Could it get to a point where instead of going B40 and moving to kind of maybe B30, 32, 33 as it becomes
35
more
probably, right?
industry specific, like you were talking transportation, but you also have energy, you have mining, you have agriculture, you have all these different segments of requirement of energy, and each of these different machines require different specifications.
Yeah, but the difficult is, if you're talking like that, the difficult is the logistic. Because currently we blend everything already. So in Indonesia, you cannot find any without B30. If you saw all the user sector. So if you split the sector again, then the issue is the logistic issue. You have to split one tank for the transportation PSO and non-PSO and
because
for the
Indonesia
industry.
is such a large country.
So I guess that the ball then moves to your blenders here, your PSO and non-PSO blenders. Do they have a role in creating a smoother chain for increasing biodiesel blend gradually on a logistic basis?
Okay.
Yeah.
Aziz, any comment on that?
I think, I don't know, but I think for B40 it's need more time. It's not like what Bu Lucia mentioned before. It's too fast, I think. If you want to 1 or 2 years, because this is not using FAME anymore, right? This is using HVO, hydrotreated vegetable oil, and it needs more time to road test and get everything works done. And I think it's I don't know how the feedstock today we face our CPO industry get super expensive, right?
Yeah.
More than 130.
More than 1,000.
Now it's 1,400.
400 something. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
And we don't know.
Today,
We don't know how this will end.
Okay, Pak Bisuk is on the online and have a question. The question is, what is the sustainability of a program of biodiesel with high CPO price currently? I mean, just like Aziz just touched up about high price. If this high price continue, will biodiesel can sustain in B30? I think the question is actually, will BPDP fund is enough?
Yeah. Do you want me to answer that?
Whoever to answer that, I mean, Aziz already brought it up. I'll come back to him again, on that question.
I mean, I don't work on behalf of BPDP, nor do I have a
Me
very
too.
disclaimer.
Disclaimer. We are not working for BPDP.
BPDP is the
right
one
person
to answer.
But what we do know is that the levy structure has been changed significantly, and it's done so from 2020 all the way to 2021, different structures, and you have your latest that's just come out now, which has really put a lot of money into the fund, and I'm sure that that reasoning was because palm prices were high, and at the point gasoline prices were low. And now gasoline prices or crude prices are quite high. You have quite a buffer in BPDP, which should really support the B40 program. So my view on it now, yes, pending on what you make the price for DPME. But obviously there is the other side of the question is, yes, the fund probably can manage it, and the levy structure can always be dynamic, which we have witnessed, right?
Yeah.
That the country doesn't want to take a step backwards in its commitment to biodiesel blending. It wants to take a step forward and only stay. So what needs to be the dynamic changer is the levy structure, and which we have seen happen. I think the real question is, as the levy structure increases, what happens to the price of palm, and what happens to the vegetable oil complex within, globally? And we've seen now that, you mentioned it now, crude palm oil prices and refined products are extremely high. And you're witnessing a case, and not to say that it's a point of biodiesel, because it's not, it's global economics and global macro supply and demand. But you have serious inflation in Indonesia right now. And we're going through a situation now on cooking oil where there's a way that we're trying to
we don't want to go to cooking oil, but
next show
we will talk about cooking oil. Okay, next show. Aziz, just continue. I'm sorry to cut it off, but because the question was related to what you are about to say.
I don't know. Last year, I think more than 70 trillion, right?
Actually, nobody knows what is. Again, we are not talking, we are not speaking on behalf of BPDP, but nobody really knows. But plenty. Agree?
I think so.
Plenty.
Where we are today.
Yes, where we are today.
The problem is we've not done with the road test. Technical, there's a problem with technical, and we are in the very early stage to using HVO, right? And the blending 10% in HVO, it's a huge blending for me, because as you mentioned before, how much? 3 kiloliter, 3 million tons. Oh, it's a huge number, and when we move from B20 and to B30, the problem is in that time our supply is we face oversupply, right, in CPO. But today, no. We 3 years ago we have a moratorium and affiliation in new and plantation. And last year, I think it's terminated by the government. I don't know how it's follow in the next season year, but it's the moratorium effect. Now we we have much demand in not only in biodiesel but also in CPO, overall CPO or oleochemical, and because that's program, so we face the higher demand in CPO, biodiesel, and also everything. So what I mean is, if you want to push it in this year or next year, it's I don't know, because there is uncertainty in the supply, in globalism, global economic perspective, and also in price.
The price will be higher and higher and higher.
Because anyway, whatever is that, either PME or DPME and HVO is also come from the vegetable, from palm.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, okay. Anybody else on the audience? We are inviting a question from the audience. Anybody from the Zoom, guys? Anybody question from the Zoom? But interesting point from Aziz just now, like the supply.
Yep.
Right. Do you think really the supply will make this program not feasible?
For the 3 or 5 years, I think no. The only problem is, I think, about the pricing policy, because HVO is very complicated, like not FAME using trans-ester acid. HVO is using what we call it, hydrotreated.
Yeah,
it's
hydrogenated.
Excluding oxygen in the parameter.
Yep.
Bu Lucia maybe can tell us more about that. And this is costly because you have to change chemical chain in that process. And with more processing, you have to high your pricing, and this is the problem, I think. So I don't know if our country moved to B40 with HVO.
But as long as the crude oil price, still going up also. I mean, the difference is going up. Together, right?
Yep.
But I agree with inflation.
Yeah, I think there's one part that we're missing in this chain here is carbon credits.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have HVO, which is working well in many countries now, right? Specifically Europe and the States. And the reason why is because there's carbon taxes. Indonesia's already set a very clear stand on where it wants to be in 2030 from a greenhouse gas emission perspective and what it wants to reduce. As of other countries, and the way that you do it is you tax carbon. And if you tax carbon, you utilize that tax to incentivize further downstream investment, which is HVO. So it's not necessary to say that the feedstock price will increase. It's more stipulating that subsidy that is required, which wouldn't necessarily have to be from BPDP, they can come from a carbon tax.
Carbon tax.
Yeah. Okay, and we have a question from Zoom. Our Zoom's any guess, right? Not to me, right?
I thought you studied computer sciences. What's going on?
Wait a bit, guys. It's just a little bit glitch on technical. Okay? Ready? Okay. Please state your name and your question, please. Can't hear the voice first.
Mute.
Mute.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello, Pak Togar. It's really nice to see you again, Mr. Tim, Ibu Lucia, and Mas Aziz, everyone. It's a really great show. Really nice to see you all. So my name is Francisca. I have a little question here. So on the start of the show, I heard that LDC handled a few commodities from Indonesia, right? Not only oil palm. So my question is, which commodity is the hardest one? Not the hardest, let's say like a little bit hard to be sustainable. And so far until now, which one is you guys think is closer to be sustainable in Indonesia in case of the commodity? That's my question. Thank you.
Only one?
How many?
Yes, I think so.
It's a good question, to be honest.
Okay.
It's a difficult question,
All
you know.
maybe there's two questions. I don't know. Okay, Tim.
Yeah, I think that sustainability, regardless of the commodity, is challenging. I think the idea is that from a global perspective, we want to move as far forward as possible on sustainability. As my career, I've been focused on vegetable oils and palm in particular. And I can tell you that the work that we've been doing and that the industry is doing has required a lot of investment and a lot of energy throughout NGOs, entities, and so forth to get to a point that there is true traceability to plantation. We have huge initiatives, or an LDC in particular, huge initiatives on palm and on coffee to create certifications and traceability, giving back to stakeholders, giving back to the smallholders, farmers, which are not necessarily educated on sustainability, but are really working on a small bit of land where they're just trying to get ends meet. And we would go forward with them and explain to them the requirements of sustainability and educate in the way that that can be a monetized approach rather than just a moral approach. So I think it would be the same, both coffee and palm, and in reality, all commodities. But I can say that it's a lot of effort on all of them.
Okay. I was told also there's another question coming from the Zoom. Pak Paulus.
Yeah,
Wow.
Good afternoon, everybody. Pak Togar, Lucy, and then Tim and
Hi,
Aziz.
Papa.
Yeah, nice to meet you all. I'm really glad to hear your discussion, and you are stressing about the using the oil palm for the biofuel, and you're talking about the PPDP or PPF also. But I just want to remind you that we knew that everybody concerned now to fulfill the agreement on the COP26, and this year our president will become head of G20, right? And then in G20 concern, our president have three subjects. First is global health. Second is digital transformation and energy transformation. So there are two things now: COP result and the energy transition. Now everybody concerned about the energy transition. So I think you have to, to concern also about these things. What I mean is, the government also have a plan to put the energy tax or the carbon tax, because we have net zero emission in 2060, right? So not just for, the BPDP, but also they have a lot of mechanism, and I predict that the government will take a lot of mechanism to support the renewable energy. One of them, of course, the carbon tax also. Thank you, Pak Togar. And
okay, thank you, Pak. It was just like the ending of what Tim was saying about carbon tax, but anybody else, maybe Aziz or Lucy, can comment on Pak Paul?
Very supportive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. It means like the fund will not just be BPDP. Again, we are not talking on behalf of BPDP, but later on, if BPDP here, right? Okay. But should be, can be, coming from carbon tax that government is doing. Do you agree with this?
I'm agree. I'm in that position. So I think when we push carbon tax, we could push this industry to become more sustainable. As you know, today there is no certification scheme that become a prerequisite condition to supply biofuel. But with the carbon tax, it forced the industry to become more sustainable, because you cannot use carbon tax with the accountability of your sustainability, right?
Yeah.
You have to comply with maybe ISPO or ISPO or ISPO, and there is many certification scheme that promoted today globally. But what I mean is, if you want to step up with the carbon tax, you have to push your accountability, your sustainability, and share to the market. This is our movement. This is our sustainability agenda. I think I am in that position, and sustainability transition is what we want to move, right, in globally. And in biofuel context, we have to you know, like we have to make like this is clean biofuel. With what? With accountability from emission reduction. How can this biofuel have a drastically reduction in emission? And this is can answer with certification.
Yeah. So we need to have certification for biodiesel to really show that, or maybe to make sure that the consumer know that this is sustainable products.
I guess going back to our previous discussion, we spoke about sustainability in Indonesia. We spoke about specifically in palm and the global concept of where palm is, which has forced the industry to really adopt a sustainable approach and adopt certain certifications. And I think it's very clear that the industry has made huge strides to go traceability to plantation, and then understanding the greenhouse gas emissions all the way through the supply chain.
Yeah.
So today it's very clear, if I'm buying from a plantation, I can very clearly trace the greenhouse gas emissions all the way to the biodiesel plant, the conversion, and then all the way to the car or the consumer. And I think the industry is ahead on that. So I think as long as the certification policies are utilized as a concept of an industry standard, the argument for reducing greenhouse gases can be very clearly made through these certifications.
All right. Okay. That should be about closing of our this segment. But don't forget, I told you before, we have quizzes and also giveaway. You can find the detail on the quizzes and the giveaway at my Instagram at Togarino. And again, this show, this time supported by LDC, and here it guys.
Kiss me out of the bird that were laying nightly beside the green, green grass. Swing, swing, swing the spinning star. You were the shoes and I were that dress. Oh, kiss me beneath the milky twilight evening. I'm on the moonlit floor. Lift you up and head, strike out the bells and make a firefly dance. Silver moon is sparkling. So kiss me. Kiss me down by the broken tree house. kiss me. Kiss me.
That's the project, right? Very nice. Thank you, thank you. And okay, again, I'm going to remind you, before we are going to this segment, quizzes and giveaway available to detail on my Instagram @Togarino. Okay, Aziz, how do you see these biofuel things? I mean, Lucia already mentioned that it started actually some years ago. It's only developed in Indonesia 2006, and actually when I first started in this industry, early 1990, I also heard about biodiesel program in Malaysia. Now we are in the biodiesel program in Indonesia already B30. We were talking about B40, just on the last segment. Where do you see the future of biodiesel? Is it PME or farming, or HVO, or DPME, or something else that is more maybe acceptable for everybody?
Okay, thank you, Pak Togar. This is quite a bit
challenging
complex question.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know.
Okay, from my perspective, I think the situation is, our biofuel is still in the first generation of feedstock.
Yes.
This is using edible oil, which is coming from CPO, from palm oil. In a global context, many countries sign up, the mandatory. Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, and I think from the report of International Energy Agency, more and more countries claim this is biodiesel or biofuel mandates becoming one of their climate action.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for 20 or 30 years, this industry will still growing. But the question is how sustainability is on there.
On the feedstock.
Yeah. So in terms of technology, you said about what we are moving from FAME to HVO. I think it should be, because HVO have many benefit for environment. HVO less NOx emission,
yes,
less CO2 emission,
yeah,
and the characteristic is actually relatively same, like the fuel from
99.99%.
Yeah. So if you ask me, I think HVO is the solution.
Okay.
If you want to, it's tackle the problem of NOx emission and CO2 emission, and also the characteristic of engine. But the question following next is how the price again, right?
Yeah,
how the economic. So it's our homework to find how the scheme to tackle this problem, like Jim mentioned before, how carbon tax will be the solution, we don't know. But I think what I want to see in the next future is maybe this industry will grow, but not necessarily not ambitious like before, but slowly gradually, but it's still there. Yeah.
Okay.
So you know, well, HVO compared to PME. Okay, HVO basically exactly like 99.9% like diesel fuel oil. I mean in the parameter, but if you compare with the PME, in fact, only two different parameters that much better from HVO to PME. There is the monoglyceride and water content. These two parameters that lack.
Only two. Okay. I don't know the technicality of
like what I mean, color is something not like color is clean.
Yeah.
Like just like water, right?
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, color is not something important in the engine for the, if you're talking about the engine.
But Indonesia, yes.
That's because that's because of the perspective for the users, right? For the I mean, but I mean, what color they produce from PME is also quite satisfied. So what do you buy with these two different these two parameters, which is much better HVO compared to PME for sure. But don't forget that, I mean, from my personal perspective, it's not against the HVO, but HVO is the huge investment.
Yep.
It only can be invested or financed by a big company, or by something like who has the fuel refinery like Pertamina, who make the co-processing, so they while they do the processing of the fossil fuel, they also do fossil fuel. They also do combine it with the RBDPO, right?
Yeah.
So if we really concentrate on HVO only, I guess that we will close the opportunity for the low investment entrepreneur, because they cannot support it. Really, I mean, we are in the business of the biodiesel. We understand that the working capital is huge in this business because we have to pay everything in cash. The investment for the biodiesel, traditional biodiesel, is relatively low compared to the working capital. Yes,
it's 1/15% capacity.
But the HVO is huge. Standalone, especially if you're talking about the standalone HVO. DPME increase. What is better from DPME compared to PME? Again, that 2 points, water and monoglyceride. So, but the cost in the DPME is also high.
Significantly less than HVO.
Yes.
So DPME is in between FAME and HVO.
But you know, DPME,
I think even less.
Yes.
Oh, even less.
Yeah, but I mean, it's funny.
Additional, right?
Yeah, Togar, it is really funny that the standard, international standard for the DPME, even same like what our standard for the PME. Yes.
Okay.
We have 350 ppm water content, right? That is the standard for the DPME international.
I see. Okay, coming back to Aziz, how do you see electric vehicle? Is it a threat for what we are talking here about biodiesel, biofuel?
I think no, because this is the different segment of market. If you talk about biodiesel, is using in diesel engine, and relatively it's using in logistic sector, like. You know, like when we got COVID last 2 years ago, there is a decline of the demand of biodiesel, but it's not necessarily lower than the drop in gasoline. I think biodiesel maybe 10%, but gasoline is more than maybe twice. Yeah, maybe twice, because of our logistic is stay in that position. They stay to deliver something around this country. So when we are talking about electric vehicle, the only threat maybe if we move to electric trucks. But today, electric trucks is in the very beginning of stage commercial. I think there is maybe in R&D stage. Some like Tesla use they wants to using truck electric to the logistic, but you know the problem is the battery and the charging time.
Yeah.
So this is quite different with our landscape in Indonesia.
But we are speaking. I mean, if we are speaking Indonesia, yeah, maybe the electric vehicle will not really move the diesel engine. How about the other countries? I mean, like some cities in Europe or in US even would like to ban the uses of biodiesel, or even if not mistaken in Berlin, some segment of the streets, the diesel car cannot go in.
Yep. Yeah.
Is it a threat for the biodiesel?
I think in EU, I don't know. I really don't know because I don't know. This is do they have a huge volume number? I think no. You know, like in the city, you traveling, you mobilize with personal mobilization. It's not necessarily need a diesel engine, right? And if there is a country banning engine for their people, I think they have still their previous cars or previous
but at least
engine.
On the heavy equipment.
Nah, this is the question.
This
is the question. So I don't know how. I think today is more than 20 or 30 countries banning diesel engine for their equipment. But I don't know. That's a heavy industry, like the
on the mining and all
mining,
stuff,
the mining industry or something like that is using biofuel or not. But if we push that kind of vehicle to mining using electric system, I think it's long. It's
a lot
so
of
long.
A lot of preparation. Right?
Yeah.
The infrastructure.
Do you agree, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, to go into Europe in particular, we know that the RED2, which is the Renewable Energy Directive, which they've now specifically said that in transportation, by 2030, they need to have 14% of renewable energy. And how they justify renewable energy is a basis of ILUC, which is indirect land use change. So how does that affect biodiesel? Biodiesel coming from vegetable oil feedstocks, specifically its primary source, which is CPO going to refined product or soybean oil going into the biodiesel plant. If you utilize that in diesel, you need to continue to expand the agricultural land to meet other demands. And hence you have this land use change. However, if you're collecting this renewable product, either electricity or so EV, you go through batteries, or you go through a concept of HVO, and this is why HVO is working, is it's using byproducts of industries. And this is a focus point that coming back to Indonesia and what's happening in Europe, and we can adopt that here because you have these byproducts here. In fact, we are exporting these byproducts. You have pome, which is being exported. You have used cooking oil. And on top of that, you have these facilities which you don't just need to utilize these in biodiesel, but you can liquefy methane. So you can have methane capture plants over every mill, every CPO mill in Indonesia produces pome, which sits there in a pool and essentially emits methane, of which this is then exported to be used in HVO plants. Or you can create these captures, which you can liquefy and energize the entire transportation, especially trucking industries, working and then working in plantations which are more rural. And this is already what the industry is doing. And in doing so, essentially, you're already at that point reducing carbon credits because there is no ILAC, there is no indirect land use change. The market is not creating POME because that's the main generation of income. It's a byproduct that is valued higher, which is reducing the requirement on fossil fuel. So I think there is really a focus of where the industry can put a bit more pressure on to increase the consumption from a blend mandate.
Okay. Recently, we know that the government banned the export or limit the export of used cooking oil. So, Aziz, do you think this is opportunity to use used cooking oil as a feedstock of biodiesel?
Yeah, sure. I think it's we have started with this used cooking oil. We have a huge number of potential volume of our UCO in Indonesia.
Yeah.
I think maybe if take a look like in Indonesia today we have 8 billion liter, right?
Yeah.
On for food
Cooking oil.
Cooking oil.
Yes.
If we have like for example 25%, 2 million.
Yeah.
It's a huge number.
Yeah.
You can use it for
now,
biofuel.
now we ask the technical ladies.
Yes. On the other hand,
ladies. Let's how about use cooking oil on biodiesel?
Yes. For currently, I don't think that we can use that. Not because we don't want, but you know, when you increase the blending, the end user also need a higher specification, a better feel for. So this is I mean, with the total contaminant, for example, from currently our limit is our standard is 20. They ask to reduce to 15, 14, which is not applicable if we use cooking oil. So the more blending percentage need the better quality of the biodiesel. Means that need the better quality of feedstock itself. So I personally prefer that probably we sleep quite a long time, by we have plenty of palm oil in Indonesia at that time. So we forget to research or to develop another vegetables oil that not edible or at that time. Why?
Because this is the opportunity now.
Yes, right. Yes, so, right.
What can be done on that used cooking oil, which is currently limited to to export, that can be fit into biodiesel plant?
Yes, you can, but you have to make more treatment for that.
What treatment?
It's just a filtration.
Yeah,
right?
filtration.
Yeah.
Filtration.
Only filtration.
Filtration.
Simple.
Coloring, right? Because
why coloring?
The aromatic. I mean, used cooking oil is not you don't have the standard used cooking oil.
Yes.
Right.
Agree.
It's come from anywhere.
Yes.
So quite difficult
to manage the spec.
To manage that.
Okay.
So today probably you receive used cooking oil with standard like with the aroma of Kentucky, for example.
Okay.
Tomorrow is the another aroma.
I think you'd buy that for your vehicle, Kentucky fuel.
Yeah. But I mean, it doesn't say that we cannot use, but we need more treatment. That's all. So it's running like on the other side, we are pushed by end user. If you want to increase your blending, you have to give me a better quality of fuel, something like that.
So if let's say we stay at B30, let's stay B30, and what can be done with this used cooking oil, which will be available, hugely available now because they cannot export it. What kind of treatment? Filtration only.
Filtration, drying, because we don't know the moisture of that used cooking oil. So because there's no any standard, so I cannot say what kind of treatment because
how long this kind of study research can be done? I'm gonna push
short,
very short, right?
It should be short time. It should be short time actually. It should be short time. Yeah, just we need something like there should be a standard for the used cooking oil, at least something like a simple standard before we go into biodiesel industry.
All right.
Don't you think economically it makes more sense to export used cooking oil? Because again,
it's banned, right?
Again, used cooking oil is the end product, right? It's gone through the entire system. There's no point of increasing the agricultural infrastructure to make more of it. It's at the end. So at that point, countries or continents are purchasing it because there is a carbon credit play there. So your price of used cooking oil today is higher than your refined product already.
Yes. Yeah.
So from an economic perspective, you'd want to export it.
Yeah.
If you are using that in biofuel, yes, I get the concept of creating more supply. But what you're doing is you are reducing the amount of dollars that are coming into Indonesia. And the main ploy behind biodiesel, if you think of where it started in 2006, is when crude oil prices were high, and there was a huge current account deficit. And that's the real concept. Manage the current account deficit for a country first, and then the concept of how do you do that from a sustainable way where you make sure that you reach your goals by 2030, and you need to balance that trick.
Well, actually, we can go on and on discussing this, you know, because this biodiesel, I mean, we're only talking about biodiesel, you know, and biofuels complex. You know, we're talking about sustainability, we're talking about environment, we're talking about the blah, 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 and all. But we have to limit ourselves, right? So we are coming to the closing of the third segment. We'll be right back shortly. And of course, giveaway, quizzes, don't forget. Nothing fancy. Someone is suggesting something fancy, but we reject it. We reject it completely, because no, right, Tim?
No,
okay.
I think
no. Tim say no. All right, coming
picture.
back. We are coming back on the
Tim.
last segment of the show. The project, hit it.
Girl, you know I want your love. Your love was winning, everybody like me. Come on now, follow my lead. I may be crazy, don't mind me, sweet boy. Let's not talk too much. Grab on my waist and put that body on me. Come on now, follow my lead. Come now, follow my lead. I'm in love with the shape of you. We were so cool like a magnet to you. Also my heart's calling true. I'm in love with your body. Last night you were in my room, and now we both just smell like you. Every day discovering something brand new. Yeah, I'm in love with your body. I'm in love with your body. You're right. I'm in love with your body. I'm in love with your body. Every day discovering something brand new. I'm in love with the shape of you.
All right. Last but not least, our last segment, reminding again, quiz and giveaways. Follow my Instagram at Togarino, and you get the detail and how to get the prizes. We have plenty of prizes to give away for you guys that is watching this. And again, thank you for LDC for supporting this first show of Togar Show, live talk show. And let's have a bit fun here with all three of you. I will give you two choices. You have to give me answer 3 seconds. Okay?
Right,
Ready?
Turn the screen and have a look at those questions.
No, you cannot
And
read
I
it,
don't have to push anything, right? Don't push any button. Okay.
I'm the only one that can read because, but you cannot read it.
Okay.
Tim, bakso nasi goreng.
Nasi goreng.
Private car with traffic jam or walking and tired?
Walking.
Rainy or summer?
Summer.
Oh, he likes summer. I like rainy.
Yeah, well, you have half the year to be rainy. So.
Ibu Lucia, nasi uduk lontong.
Lontong.
Home theater or cinema?
Cinema.
Journey to the past or the future?
Future.
All right. I like to stay home, actually. Okay, Aziz, Home Alone or Toy Story?
Home Alone.
Oh, okay, I like Toy Story. Public transportation or private car?
Public transportation.
Public. Biofuel or fossil fuel?
Biofuel.
Oh, of course, of course. This someone that put this question is actually on the very last. Is really purposely on put. Of course, we are talking about biofuel. Why is the question is like this? But it's okay. Okay, guys.
Oh, we don't get a chance to say to you now.
Hold on.
We don't give any giveaway.
I'm the host. You are the guest. So
hair or no hair?
Oh, hair. All right. Would like to have me, also maybe the audience, like to have each of you a closing statement about what we have been talking in the last segments. You want to start, Tim?
Yeah, of course. I think firstly, we were privileged to have Paulus here and Bulusha, who truly are the champions of the industry. And we've now gone through the past and very much spoken about past and present and concepts of the future, which Aziz gave us a lot of information on. And in reality, the future is open. But there's been a lot of hard work by these champions to get us where we are today. And the reality is that the industry and the next generation who are smarter than all of us and going through the schooling of understanding a lot more concepts and understanding the truth of sustainability, carbon credits and so forth, making things more economical, can come into this industry and truly grow this industry into the future where we sit at, it's a question mark, and answer that in a truly massively growing and dynamic industry.
All right. Aziz, I'm not gonna jump to he thought that he would be the last, But,
So for me is I hope this industry become more sustainable, more accountable, and become more friendly in environmental. And also we have go further in the next future, and the opportunity is very open to us. Whether we use any feedstock, but we have to moving to advance more advanced technology. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Aziz. Ibu Lucia.
Well, this biodiesel industry prove or show that there is a lot of benefit that brought by this industry for this country.
Okay.
Especially for the first time, we can totally cut our dependency on imported fuel, because energy is the key factor of our life in the business too. So dependency on the import resources for energy is not the wise thing, and with biodiesel finally we can cut that. So we have to looking forward for that. Move a lot of challenge, a lot of constraint, but if we have the passion to solve and still supportive with this biodiesel, I believe that all constraints economically or technically can be solved.
Okay. Before I got into my last statement, few of you already put some comments on the YouTube chat, and thank you for the supporting. Energy is the key factor of our life. Yes, grow this industry to the future. Yes, Francisca, this industry become more sustainable. That is the goal for the palm oil industry, not just biodiesel, but it's coming from the very upstream until the biodiesel need to be sustainable, on each part of it, including biodiesel on. I hope that biodiesel also in Indonesia can be certified. Yeah, right. Okay. And my closing statement is renewable energy is the future, right? We all agree on that. Biofuel is part of it, and biodiesel, is also part of biofuel, which we Indonesia have a very, very abundant supply, right? But again, the economic and how we gonna go both B30 or how we gonna do that, and we need to study, or we're talking about use cooking oil, and then we need to really further study how we gonna use that, right? And also, I think I thank you for the LDC for the supporting this show, the first show of Togar, and also all the guests and speakers that in coming here to the show. I would like to say that I will see you on the next show sometimes. I hope soon. We're talking about maybe like something that going on in Indonesia currently that we can bring here and then talk about it. And of course, the project band. Thank you very much. Lovely songs. And yeah, short that we almost moved, but has to stop because of the timing. Again, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Lucia. Thank you, Aziz, for coming. Thank you all people in the YouTube that are watching and also on the Zoom room. I'll see you again. Bye-bye.
About you, I think about love. Darling, don't live without you and your love. If I had this golden dream of my yesterday, I will drop you into heaven till I'm dying on the way. Feel like making, feel like making love. Feel like making love.
It began in 1999, when we opened our first office in the country. It revolves around our role as a global merchant and processor of agricultural goods, and it continues to this day as an active participant in the country's agro-industrial sector, with a focus on palm, coffee, grains, and cotton. We are Louis Dreyfus Company, and this is our journey in Indonesia. The world faces many critical challenges today: environmental pollution, climate change, and the depletion of natural resources. The need to manage agriculture and food production sustainably is therefore essential to meet the growing demand for food. We believe that we have a key role to play in addressing these challenges, and that LDC's vision to work toward a safe and sustainable future, helping to provide sustenance for a growing global population, is more relevant than ever today. We are passionate about fair and sustainable value creation, placing responsible food supply and sustainability at the heart of all we do. We operate RSPO and ISCC certified refineries in Lampung and Balikpapan, which promote the use of sustainable Indonesian palm oil. Our biodiesel plant in Lampung supports growing national demand for biofuel and palm production, as well as Indonesia's ambitious renewable energy targets. With the aim to achieve 100% traceability of the palm oil we trade and process, LDC's palm sustainability policy guides our suppliers in sourcing palm oil responsibly, minimizing social and environmental impact while preserving natural resources and biodiversity.
LDC hanya membeli buah kelapa sawit yang berasal dari perkebunan yang dikelola secara sustainable. Jadi saya melihat LDC ini menerapkan bisnis yang tidak hanya melulu kepada keuntungan semata, tetapi juga sudah menerapkan perkebunan secara berkelanjutan. Kami sekarang menyadari bahwa masalah deforestasi dan eksploitasi perlu segera diatasi, dan itu dapat diatasi melalui action plan yang nyata dan tepat.
Our sustainability efforts in Indonesia also extend to our coffee supply chain. Since 2011, LDC agronomists have worked with over 5,000 smallholder farmers to impart sustainable agricultural practices, which have improved the quality of yields and incomes.
Dulu saya mendapatkan penghasilan 1 ton biji kopi per hektar. Sekarang setelah mendapat pelatihan, saya mendapatkan penghasilan itu menjadi 2 ton biji kopi per hektar.
At LDC, we also believe that building lasting partnerships and focusing on delivering quality services as a trusted business partner is another key to fulfilling our vision for a sustainable future. Our growth and development in Indonesia is underpinned by strong relationships with local partners, from farmers to customers, and from suppliers to joint venture partners. This collaboration enables us to share knowledge, affect meaningful change, and grow sustainably by finding shared solutions to common challenges.
Kemitraan kami dengan LDC Indonesia sangat baik. Kami sudah bekerja sama sejak tahun 2000 bersama-sama mengelola pelabuhan yang ada di Lampung. Kemitraan ini berefek positif kepada kami karena dikelola secara profesional, transparan, dan dengan spirit saling menghormati.
Our commitment to protecting our people, the environment, and local communities is central to realizing our vision for a safe and sustainable future. Because safety, health, and the environment are a priority in the way we do business, we conduct regular audits and analyses and take action to improve our industrial performance and minimize environmental impact. Employing over 300 people in Indonesia, LDC also nurtures young local talents as the next generation of leaders in Indonesia's agricultural sector.
Saya bergabung di LDC di tahun 2011 sebagai manajemen trainee. Menurut saya LDC tempat terbaik untuk anak muda belajar skill entrepreneur, dan saya diberi tanggung jawab dan pengetahuan yang semakin besar di industri kelapa sawit Indonesia. Saya dibesarkan di tengah keluarga yang selalu mengedepankan kejujuran, fairness, dan keterbukaan. Dan saya menemukan nilai-nilai ini selama saya bekerja di LDC.
Through projects in education, health, and environmental sustainability, LDC promotes the well-being of local communities in our operating locations. Our Sekolah Masa Depan, School of the Future initiative supported public elementary schools in Lampung, Balikpapan, and Jakarta with building renovations, teachers training, parents workshops, and student engagement activities conducted by LDC volunteers.
Dengan program Sekolah Masa Depannya mengubah sekolah kami. Program ini menunjukkan kepedulian perusahaan dengan sekolah kami, sekaligus membuka jendela ke dunia luar yang lebih besar.
Since 1999, LDC has grown with Indonesia. We have combined global expertise with strong local partnerships to create value for customers, suppliers, business partners, and local communities. The future promises an exciting new chapter for LDC as we look forward to a continued collaboration with Indonesia and her people. Together, we will continue to deliver quality and responsibly produced agricultural goods, helping to provide sustenance for a growing population toward a safe and sustainable future.